everybody, it's Mrs. Holland here again. Last time you might remember that I introduced you to a really old composer called Handel, George Frederick Handel, and he wrote the piece of music called Music for the Royal Fireworks. And I told you then that he was most famous for writing something called Handel's Messiah, which was an oratorio. Remember, we looked at that word, an oratorio. It's a piece of music, a really long piece of music with a big orchestra, often a choir, that tells a story, but there's no costumes and there's no scenery to it. Now, Handel was so famous by this point, and he wrote Handel's Messiah before he wrote the music for the Royal Fireworks. So you could say that King George II heard Handel's Messiah and thought, oh, I'm going to get him to write something for my fireworks display. Legend has it that King George II went to the premiere of Handel's Messiah, and he was so moved by this part, which is called the Hallelujah Chorus, that he stood up. And because he was the king, no one else was allowed to sit down in his presence. So everybody in the whole place stood up. And that's kind of become a bit of a tradition. And it's also become a tradition that Handel's Messiah is performed all over the world at Christmas time. And it's become a tradition that it's performed in our cathedral in Lincoln every Christmas. Sadly, not this year. So we can have a little sneak peek ourselves. Now, Handel's Messiah is written about the life of Jesus, and it's taken from some of the stories in the Bible. And lots of it is talking about the nativity story, so when Jesus was born. And Christmas is sneaking up on us, isn't it? And for Christians, they remember when Jesus was born, and they remember the story of the nativity. And Handel's Messiah has got parts of music that tell that story as well. Amongst other things, originally it was performed at Easter, but now it is a proper tradition to watch or listen to Handel's Messiah at Christmas. Now, I get very excited about Christmas, so it's almost December, and I think we could have a little sneak peek in, couldn't we? One of the other funny things that I found out about Handel's Messiah was when it was premiered, when they went to watch it for the first time, King George II was there, and he stood up and everything that I've just told you. But also, because Handel was so famous by this point, they were worried about how many people were going to come and watch this oratorio. And they told the ladies to take the hoops out of their dresses. So in 1742, all the ladies would have been wearing very posh dresses that stuck out at the hips, and then right around their feet would have had a big hoop, like a hula hoop, in the bottom to make their dresses stick out. And they were told, take the hoops out of your dress, probably so they could get more people in to watch the performance. And the men were told to leave their swords at home. So in those days, some of the upper class men would have taken their swords with them if they were going to hear a concert or something like that. They would have had their swords, but they were told to leave their swords at home and take the hoops out of their dresses to make sure they could squish in as many people as possible. Handel is a little bit like Andrew Lloyd Webber. He was the kind of Andrew Lloyd Webber of his time in a way. He used to pull people to come and watch these amazing stories told just with music, no costumes, no scenery. And he was so famous for that, that even now, hundreds and hundreds of years later, it's still a tradition to listen to Handel's Messiah at Christmas time. So this is the Hallelujah Chorus. You don't need to stand in it, but you can remember King George II standing because he was so moved by this performance. And you're going to get a little bit of culture and a bit of insight into something that I think is actually one of the most precious pieces of music that has ever been written. And hopefully it'll start some conversations with your family as well. So maybe when you get home, you tell them that you've watched this. But this is the Hallelujah Chorus from Handel's Messiah. And this is our own little sneak peek at a Christmas tradition. I hope you enjoy it.